100. This is Ivy Tech's online statistics course. So I'm just going to be walking you through kind of what the course looks like, how to navigate each week, and where some kind of like helpful things might be. I'm going to start here and then kind of like our main screen. Yours probably looks different because you're in an actual course, whereas I am just looking at kind of the course template for the state. So first thing that you'll notice here is there's a link to announcements. So if your instructor posts an announcement, I would recommend just kind of going in and reading it. A lot of times there will be some pretty useful information in there. So always be checking your announcements to see if there's anything valuable in there. We want to start with kind of reading through our course syllabus. So I'm not going to read through this because you're capable of that, but there are just a couple of quick things I want to point out. The first is on the right hand side over here. This shows you the grade weighting for the course. So I'll quickly go through each of these groups and just explain it. My lab assignments. So we use my stat lab in this course for all assignments, quizzes, and exams. So you are required to purchase an access code for this. You can do that online. It's right around $100 and it comes with access to an e-text. So in the syllabus down a little further, down here, it shows you what the required textbook is. So if you want a physical textbook, you're more than welcome to buy that. If you use this ISBN number, will come with an access code. But if you don't care about the physical textbook, then you can go ahead and use this second ISBN, which is just the access code only. And again, it does come with access to an e-text. Obviously, you'll notice here none of the instructor information is filled in because, again, I'm just looking at the template for the state. But up here, we can kind of see the distribution, or exactly how your grade is calculated. So the assignments, you'll have one assignment due per chapter. There are 12 total chapters covered in the course. So those are worth 15% of your grade. There are 2 proctored exams. Those are worth 50% of your grade. And you'll want to make sure that you read through the syllabus to find out your instructor's kind of like proctoring rules. A lot of times it will involve actually going to an Ivy Tech location, but there are some other options as well. So make sure that you read through the syllabus to find out about those. There are also quizzes in my math lab. Those are worth 20% of the grade. And there are a set of discussion board posts worth 5%. And then there are 2 projects in the course worth 10% of the grade. So each project is worth 5%. So only other thing that I want to point out in the syllabus is actually all the way at the bottom, and this is not going to be super useful right now, but I just want to show you what will be here when you look at your specific course. So there's a course summary at the bottom here, which has dates. Now there are no dates assigned in this course, but in your specific course there should be. So it should have a date, and then it should have like a list of assignments due. So this is a great way to find out what you have due for the week. Just kind of very quickly. So it might say, let's see, today is the 18th. So if you have something due on the 18th, it would say 7/18/2019 and under the date, and then it would have kind of the assignments listed here. And the nice thing about this is you can actually click on these assignments and it'll take you right into those. So next, I'm going to take you to kind of the next section, which is modules. So modules, you can get to everything through here that you actually need to get to in this course. There's some college resources here. I'm going to click on course resources to show you what lives in there. There's something called StatCrunch. It's kind of like Excel, but it's actually specifically built to go with your textbook. So it does a lot of the sort of more difficult calculations for you in this class. So there isn't a lot of by hand statistical calculations that you have to do. You actually are welcome and encouraged to use StatCrunch on all of your homework, quizzes, and your exams. So there's a user guide here, which if I click on this, it's going to take me out to a Google Doc. And you can kind of see here, I have edit access. You will just have view access, but you can see by chapter kind of some different instructions on how to use StatCrunch. There are also other really good videos for this, but this should give you a pretty good idea of how you might use that tool. So there are also some videos here. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to some things. And then there's access to some tables. So you won't have to use these very often, but there are maybe some specific instances in which you'll find the tables helpful. Those tables are provided on the exam. So there are no formulas provided, but there are statistical tables that you're able to use. Now I did post also here the formulas that are used in the course. So again, you don't need to know all of these because you will probably be relying on StatCrunch in order to do a lot of the difficult calculations. But if you want to see the formulas all in one place, they're right here. And then there's also a discussions rubric. So if we go back into modules for a minute, I'm going to just walk you through quickly one module. So we'll look just at module 1. So the way that you can kind of navigate through this would be to click on the Module 1 overview, which you can also get to just by clicking on Module 1 on the home page. And it will give you sort of like a brief introduction, links you to the syllabus, tells you what the purpose of the module is, and then lists some objectives. And then you can use the next button to navigate. And it walks you through some learning activities. So I would always recommend that you watch the video lectures. So there's a link, and this will take you to YouTube for Chapter 1 video lecture. And then there are also lecture notes and a lecture key, which you can work through and download the key and see how you did. Same thing exists in this module for Chapter 2. So if you click on Next, it takes you to some optional resources. So I have a lot of Khan Academy videos in here, and then there are also some publisher PowerPoints that you're more than welcome to look at. And then if you go to Next again, it's going to take you to the discussion board. So you can kind of read through this, and then you're able to post to your discussion board. Once you're done with that, you can click on Next again. There's not going to be anything in here because right now this is, again, not linked to an actual course, but this would be your Chapter 1 homework. And then it'll take you to Chapter 2 homework. And finally, it will take you to Chapter 1 and 2 quiz. Now, one thing I will mention about the quizzes is as you work your way through, you will notice that I always throw in kind of a couple of review problems. This hopefully will prepare you well for the exams. So you'll kind of start to see a little bit of spiraling in the class. So you see things kind of build on one another. So I think that incorporating those review questions on the quizzes hopefully will be helpful. And then there's a list of next steps. So this is just kind of like what's coming up for the next week. And then if you click on Next, it actually takes you to the next module. So that's kind of how you can navigate through the course. You can also go to assignments here, and this is just going to list all of the various assignments that you have. Now, you can sort them by date, which I would recommend doing in your particular course. Like I said, there are no due dates on these, so it's not particularly useful. But you can click and get to your homework and discussions, etc. this way. If you just want to look at the discussion boards, you can do that here. Grades allows you to see what your actual grades are in the course. So this is pretty cool here. You can see like when it's due, what your score is, and what it's out of. And then one kind of nice thing that you'll notice, which you can like click on any of these and you can put in a score. And what it'll do is it'll give you like a what if kind of thing. So let's just see how this works here. So if I enter a 20 here, it will basically calculate for me what my grade is in the course. So it's a 57.14, and it tells me that's not my actual score. I just added that in there, and you as a student can do this in all of your courses in Ivy Learn. You can also undo this. But then if I go ahead and go in here and say, oh, I got a 20 on my quiz as well, you can see that's a perfect score, so that boosted my grade a little bit. And then you can undo this. So this is particularly useful come like midterm and final time to see what do you need on your midterm or what do you need on your final in order to get a specific grade in the course. These other things over here, most of them you probably won't use too much. MyLab and Mastering, you're welcome to go into the course this way as well. So you can click on all assignments to see everything. Course Home is also a nice button. If I go into the course home, yeah, I think it's not going to work right now because I'm just logged in as like a test student. But in general, if you go into the course home, you actually can get into StatCrunch that way, and you can view kind of everything in my math lab. So that's also kind of a nice view. So that's all that I have for today. Best of luck in your stats class, and please feel free to email your instructor or message your instructor if you have any questions at all.